Hello Ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to an Atlas video giving you everything you need to know about Atlas launching on the Xbox. 10 months ago it launched in stormy weather when it appeared on Steam Store. Let's just say that a hype may be overgenerated just a bit. Since then there's been a bunch of updates that have improved and made Atlas more compelling. Is it a better game? That's for you to decide. I'm just here to give you everything you need to know about Atlas launch on Xbox. How much is it going to cost? $29.99. You can surely go and find your own converter to see what price that is in your region. It is crossplay with Steam. The servers are running. There's going to be 4 servers to choose from. 2 player versus environment servers, 2 player versus player servers. These mega servers can hold up to 40,000 players, with each smaller grid holding up to 150. You'll find one PvP, one PvE server in North America and the other PvP, other PvE server in Europe. The game is not cross-purchase. If you've already bought it on Steam, you're going to have to pay again to play it on Xbox, and you can imagine that eventually we will see Windows 10 compatibility with the Xbox version also. If you was expecting mods to suddenly start appearing on console, think again. The only way you'll be able to play mods is with the PC version. There have been some rumours of possibility of mods in the future, but I wouldn't really hold on to that too long. It's more likely to be the case of it is with Arc. Official mods will be taken and they'll be ported over for console explicitly. So you will not be able to go and play on any Steam server that is running that has mods enabled. So if you want to crossplay with friends, you need to make sure that they're not running any mods that you can't join on. Speaking of servers, Nitrado are the official partners, just like they are with Arc. They should be day one servers for you to rent out. However, it's not been confirmed 100%, so the likelihood is you may have to wait a couple days before setting up your Xbox server, and you will be able to choose whether or not you want full crossplay with Steam or just keep it on Xbox. So as well as official, as well as single player, you can rent your own servers, and I'll be giving you more information in a detailed guide on how to set up your server when it does come forward. And FYI, for any PS4 fans still watching, yes, crossplay could be a possibility with you eventually, as Sony has now lifted their crossplay rules. Any developer can now apply for crossplay. The size of the game is expected to be at least 80 GB, so make sure you clear off a good chunk of space on the Xbox. So when can you play Atlas? Well, already in the recording of this video, they've delayed the release date by a few hours, something to do with Xbox. So I'm going to put the times for release in the comment section rather than give you times that you don't really know are right or correct. Atlas on PC was delayed lots of times, literally days, not hours, each time only letting people know at the last minute. At least on this occasion, they've let everyone know a little bit earlier. Expect it in the comment section when to play. Keyboard and mouse support will be coming to Atlas, but it hasn't been 100% confirmed on day one on Xbox. Atlas is a massively multiplayer online game. However, there is single player, and there is also a bunch of different ways that you can play that single player. Just like Ark Survival Evolved, you can host your own single player private world where you can explore the huge massive grid of Atlas on your own, or you can host a non-dedicated session where up to 7 of your friends can join you for a total of 8 players, but there will be a tether, so you will not be able to go and explore everywhere on your own. And of course, as usual, non-dedicated means that that server will shut down when you turn off your Xbox or you turn off your Steam account. The only way for a persistent server is to join the official ones or join hosted servers being provided either by Steam or Xbox players. And of course, utilising server providers like Nitrado. I do have a code for you to use if you're thinking of renting your own server. You can find details in the description box down below. Follow the link, use my code and get 10% off your Atlas server. And there's one last way you can play Atlas. As well as the single player that lets you experience the whole of the world, the grid, there is also a special free DLC that's been added to the game during early access on Steam, and this DLC, Blackwood, will be on Xbox as well. It's a smaller grid. It has maybe only 4 little grids together, but it's got lots of different islands for you to explore, and it's created by one of the most popular map makers from Ark Survival Evolved. ISO, as they're known, created the Crystal Isles and have done many great jobs in terms of helping mods and keep the modding community going with lots of updates for their previous maps. So they've worked on this separately. This is something they've added and it's now an official part of Atlas. It's basically designed to give you a taste of what Atlas is, and it's also very good for people that are renting servers, so you don't have to spend lots of money getting every single grid. You can just go ahead and buy a package that has this tiny sort of adventure map that has all the resources that you would expect from the main game. Atlas, of course, is in-game preview on Xbox. It's still far from complete and is expected to be maybe complete in another 18 months or so. So we've got a long time of updates. There's probably going to be substantial wipes and situations changing. Atlas is definitely a work in progress, but the best bit is we get to give feedback on how and hopefully it shapes the game. The developers have already shown they're willing to listen to the community and have made absolute hundreds and thousands of changes based on what the community have said is good and what is not good. Of course, they've got their own ideas too, and you can expect lots and lots of content to come for Atlas in the next 18 months. Their roadmap at the moment though is centered around bug fixing and optimizations in what they're calling phase 1. They ripped up what they originally planned and they're doing it in phases now. Phase 1 is bug fixing and optimization and getting the smooth integration of Xbox with Steam. Phase 2 is making that ships and sailing and the seas much more exciting and more activities to do. It can take quite a long time to get from one island to another, one server grid to another, so you need more content to make that enjoyable and get players actually out on the sea rather than just building mega bases on land. Phase 3 is all about skills and combat. They're going to be passing over the combat system, which is pretty much the most basic they could actually get. They're going to be revitalizing it, adding new features, and hopefully see some massive improvements. Atlas is really meant to be more of a traditional MMO with skill-based combat. So I'm not talking Dark Souls and I'm not talking about combos, but more a case of having special abilities, special buffs, area of effect attacks. Of course, you can still go and hack at someone with a sword or go and shoot someone with a pistol, but more and more I see them wanting to add more features where you're using special buffs and debuffs. That also applies to skills and how they're going to change and initialize and put more into the skill systems to make them so you define your character. Again, being a multiplayer game first, they really want you to have a specific role. That doesn't mean you can't change it, but it does mean that if you want to unlock everything, you're going to have to do some massive cheating on your single player to give you enough experience or to give you enough all the skills. And phase 4, by no means the last phase, they've said that they'll be looking at the world, claiming, tames and creatures. Right now the claim system can be a bit difficult to explain. I don't really want to do it in this informational video, but let's just say on PvP you are going to have to stake your claim on islands and you can tax players that live on your island. You also have to really defend against other players, and there have been lots of issues and lots of changes made with the claim system. So expect even more to come. They really don't want to make this Arc 2.0, so don't expect it to be all about just taming and creatures. It's all about getting the best ship and getting the best armor and weapons. That's what's going to make you stronger in Atlas. The creatures are there to help you gather resources and also do a little bit of base defense and get you around certain parts of the islands quicker, but they're not the main focus like the dinosaurs are in Ark Survival Evolved, but they still want to improve them, add some more and refine what is already there. I mentioned earlier you can expect plenty of wipes. During early access they already wiped the servers at least twice, so you can expect that to happen. On a PvP eccentric game I don't really think that matters that much. It's kind of expected, although lots of people will have put thousands of hours. Atlas hasn't got a healthy player base at the moment. It's probably one of the lowest it's been since the year started last year, so it definitely needs this influx of Xbox players to liven things up and see and promote some of the good stuff that's gone into the game. You can expect some issues though. Xbox will be competing with players that have access specifically on the North American PvP server by 1 week. They basically shut down all the servers they had on Steam and kept one open after wiping it. So everyone on Xbox North America has 1 week advantage over everyone else. Now, normally I would be saying this is a terrible idea, but because of such a low population of Atlas players playing on Steam, it really isn't that much of a big deal. There are plenty of spots to go and explore on the map. There are plenty of places for you to spawn in. You are not going to be owned by people on huge levels above you. unless you really are stupid to stick around them people. It's a huge world. You can go and explore and find plenty of places that haven't got as many players, and certainly players that have had an advantage of a week's access. For the real techno kids out there that have to know if it's got HDR and 4K, right now at launch it won't do. It's going to be just the base game, but they've said they're going to be updating the game within a week that adds HDR support. So if you really love your visuals on Xbox to look super top notch, then you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that to happen. Although it has to be said, on Arc I find the HDR quite horrifying as it makes everything seem a little bit pink. But of course this is a new game and they've got much more new technology, and that's the big thing I'm going to finish off with. In my experience of playing Atlas when it launched, obviously there was lots of problems and issues and constant updates pretty much every day to get the game in a good playable state. Generally though, when you start playing it, it actually runs really well. Part of that reasoning is it doesn't have to load in as many assets as Ark Survival Evolved does. When you run around an island or a map in Ark, you've got all the creatures, all the resources, all the gathering to do. But because Atlas, a lot of the content there is out at sea, it doesn't have to work as hard to render stuff in, and so performance is much better with Atlas than it is with Ark. So I'm really hoping this is going to transfer over to the Xbox version. You can also expect an update improving the wild pirate encampments. Basically this is something you can turn on in the settings that allow to have more of that multiplayer experience even in single player. You will find pirate NPC enemies that have got encampments and bases on islands. You need to clear that island from these pirates before you can claim the island for yourself. It's a really good feature and it certainly adds more content to Atlas I should say, in single player and of course on your own private servers, and you will be able to disable this though if you really don't want that. It's no denying it, I do get a bit confused with Atlas and Ark. Obviously they're made by the same company, they've got the same features and it's all come from the same core game. So of course there's going to be lots of comparisons made. Yes, and I don't think that's such a terrible thing. Atlas is certainly got some of the greatest stuff from Ark. It's got that sense of progression and getting resources and gathering and building, and of course it has got that exploration part. What it's definitely lacking is some real sort of loops. Without the tames being the focus is now on exploration and either conquering other players or finding loot and completing NPC sort of missions or quests or taking out enemies to get better rewards. And so that is going to still need a lot of work during early access to really make it fulfilling. Atlas is definitely in a better shape than it was when it launched on PC, and I think it's been right to hold on this long. Will we see Atlas come out much sooner on PlayStation 4? Maybe. They managed to get Ark out on it before it was officially released as 1.0, so I reckon we'll probably see Atlas arrive on PlayStation 4 next summer. So a brief breakdown of some PvP stuff that you need to know. Obviously PvP can happen at any time while you're out in the open seas. However, if you want to go and take over a land, you now have to save up coins to basically declare war. This gives the person on that island some time to set up some defences or maybe even run away. This is meant to help with not being a no-lifer playing Atlas 24/7 in fear that you're going to get raided. Now, it may have changed slightly since then. It's been a good few months since I jumped into official PvP, so I'm going to be doing a proper video explaining how the rest of it works. But let that be known, you can get raided in the open seas, but usually when you're on a base, when you've claimed an island, you will be given notice via a token that you're being declared war on. It should go without saying that once you've chosen that server and leveled your character up, you won't be able to take that character to another server. Unlike Ark Survival Evolved where you transfer your characters from server to server, Atlas is relying on these big mega servers holding your characters. So if you play on the North American server but then realise your friends are all on the EU, you better make sure you've chosen what server you're going to be spending most time on, as you will have to start a new character again. That's pretty much it. I can't really think of too much more off the top of my head, other than that there will be admin commands if I've not already said that. You will be able to cheat on Xbox in single player or on your own server and spawn stuff in. I'm going to be going over much more detailed videos covering certain aspects, so make sure you got my channel locked on, make sure you got notifications turned on, and go and check out my official launch trailer of Atlas on Xbox. Enjoy the game, people. Let me know what you think about it once you've played it. Give the game preview a free shot for 1 hour and come and tell me what Atlas is like for you. Until next time, Ratbags, I will see you on the open seas.